All right. So we're gonna go with I so we take theist callers priority, and if it, we want theist callers to call in, we will always take priority. And I'm happy to say that we're going to start out the show today with a theist caller, Isaiah. Pronouns are he, him, from Korea, and is curious on how a will to survive could evolve. How are you doing, Isaiah?
Very well. Thank you so much for taking my call. This is my first time seeing Richard, but even before he was praising you, I was going to say, Jmike, you are an extremely intelligent person, and I really enjoy listening to you. So I know there's no way I'm going to beat you in a debate, but, I am a Christian, and I do believe in evolution. But I am very curious on how you could describe that happening, purely by naturalistic means, because like a will to survive seems something that would have to be developed over time and passed down from generations. So, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to understand. You're wanting to know, like, specifically what would cause a mechanism to want to survive and have that passed on. I'm trying to I think I get your question, but I just want to make sure that I fully understand your question.
Yeah. Well, okay. So so as a Christian, I would say that, even though I believe in evolution, I believe that God would have created some kind of underlying mechanism that could, bring it about. But also it seems like the will to survive, the desire to keep reproducing and not to just let something kill you or eat you, because if you ever see like a roach or something, then you try to kill it, that thing will fight you for its life, And
sure, I guess I'm
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about this because it's like if I did not have some will to live, do you think that I'm gonna in the back end have that propagate? Do you think like that? Because it seems to be that if I have no will to, if I'm a plant and I just say I have the will as a plant or something, and I have no will to photosynthesize, right? Clearly, that species of plants wouldn't persist, right? I'm trying to understand. It seems to just be kind of baked into the understanding of what it means to have selection, right?
If you don't mind me jumping in just for a second here, the will to survive, if I'm understanding you properly, Isaiah, seems to me to be a kind of I don't quite see where the problem is. Let's have a scenario. I'm walking down a savannah, and there's a great big lion I see in the distance, and it sees me and starts chasing me. I automatically have that will to survive. I don't see that as particularly as an evolutionary thing. I think that's a basic instinct, which may inform evolution, but I don't see it being any kind of problem as a result of evolution. It seems perfectly straightforward that if you see something which you know is going to eat you, you don't want to be eaten, so you develop a will to try to survive that. So I'm really struggling with what you mean here by will to survive. So if you wouldn't mind kind of expanding a little bit, see if I've kind of hit the nail on the head or if I've missed something.
Yeah, okay. Then I definitely didn't describe it properly. And by the way, I love your accent. I think British accents, or you from Britain?
I am from Britain. It's an evolutionary trait I can't avoid, unfortunately.
He had the will to speak cooler than everybody else.
Okay, so let's just say the first life forms come about, okay, at the very beginning, like literally like the very first ones that come about. Why would they have a desire to keep reproducing or keep eating? That seems something that would have to be
I already kind of have an issue with the fact that you say desire, because that's
describing
intentional states. And if we're talking about something that's merely a causal disposition or something, so think of it. The only example I can think of off the top of my head is and I'm going to get this term wrong, but I think it's called chemotoxis or something like that. I could be pronouncing it wrong, but essentially what an egg does is it releases some chemical and it basically attracts the sperm, and this is going to be some causal disposition. We could link why the effect has the chemotoxis, or however it's pronounced, causes the sperm to be attracted, right? But I don't see intentionality in there or a desire to be united with the egg, right? That's just a causal disposition, like a probability set of what it could or could not do given, its features, right, or its properties. So when you talk about desire and intention, I'm kind of weirded out about that, especially like people that are physicalists aren't going to say that's minds are going to be local, right? They're going to be at the back end. So any of that like talk about intentional or desire to propagate that's going to be a more local type of event than say like a plant's quote unquote desire to photosynthesize, right? That seems to be a category error, I guess what I'm trying to say.
Isaiah, would you consider will and desire as the same thing?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I'm just interested because, like I said, your question, your opening question was will to survive, and then, as Mike touched upon, then you seem to change it to a desire in earlier things, which seems to kind of take us off track a little bit. And I'm wondering if you're seeing those things and using those terms interchangeably. I'm not trying to trip you up. I'm just genuinely interested.
No. Thank you. No, first of all, thank you guys for taking my call. Absolutely. And I said, I know I'm not going to, I'm trying to debate you, but it's a legitimate question. Like, I legitimately don't understand how you could account for that inside of just a completely naturalistic universe. That, I don't know, this may just speak to my own personal incredulity. I don't see something like that happening, without any kind of intention, something behind it or programmed into it. It's kind of like more I was saying, like, out of will, desire, I don't know how you'd want to call it, or an instinct. Even the instinct, because you're talking about walking along on the savannah or whatever, but those are like things that are instincts that are passed down from generation to generation. So if you go back to the first generations, what's their, I don't know, you call it motivation or,
Well, let's consider that we're a human and we're the first people, and there is no evolution, and we are the first people, and we're on the savannah, and we see the first lion, and we see it running towards us. Now, this is a thing that weighs what, 600-700 pounds, I would guess, at a minimum. It runs at maybe 25 miles an hour. It's big, it's got sharp teeth and sharp claws, and it's looking directly at us and chasing us. I don't think you need any predisposition to kind of have an instinct, even as the first person, that you need to try and get out of this thing's way to avoid harm.
Yeah, I mean, and my thing is that seems that like when you have something like persistence is just going to be type of that in like, I mean, I don't know if, because a lot of seems like what you're wanting to inquire about is going to deal with heredity, right? And so it seems that like persistence of existence is going to be an inherent trait, especially given that like if what's going to be selected for, right, like I don't like to say goal oriented, but it's not like as if there's this intent or goal behind the mechanism, right, for it to actively will. Like that's where I'm kind of curious on whether or not you're saying like the mechanism of selection has some intent, or like just the organism simpliciter, like why does it have the desire to go on? That's where I'm kind of not understanding what specifically you're getting at.
Well, thank you. You've given me some more things to think about just to kind of polish it around. I just wanted to, just throw it at you, see if you could give me some answers. But actually, just one quick thing before I go. Like, I'm really not trying to kiss up to you, Jmike, but I've heard you multiple times, and I'm just wondering, do you like just stay at home and read all? How do you acquire the kind of knowledge that you have?
Well, so I would first say, like, I'm someone who has a pretty severe imposter syndrome. Like, so I don't like to say that think I study on a couple things that I enjoy, and when people give me that type of praise, I always feel like, oh, wait till you know me, a little bit and see how clumsy I am. I talk with a lot of people that I consider way smarter than me. I don't claim to have any original ideas or arguments or anything like that. That I have this, thing. It's great minds. It's like science. We stand on the shoulders of giants. And for me to think at least any knowledge that I could claim I have is just because I had great minds before me. And now that I surround myself with and listen to online, I mean, there's really good resources online to go, and these people have these conversations, and you'll be surprised how absolutely intelligent some people are on either side of the conversation. But the one thing that I always find lacking on the other side of the conversation is a demonstration of the claim being true. But yeah, I would just say, just surround yourself with a lot of people. I never in my life have been told I was smart until recently, so it's a new thing for me. So I don't know that I agree necessarily, but I appreciate it.
So, I live in South Korea, so I'm not really around a bunch of native speakers. But that being said, thank you for taking my call, and thank you for making me feel stupid on a weekly basis, Jmike. And you guys have a good day.
We appreciate. I don't know that I can agree with making you feel stupid or me being really smart. I just like one thing, and I think if I talk to Richard about something that anybody has a specified thing, like look at a musician that's really good at music and knows music theory. I played music for 15 years. I couldn't tell you anything about music theory, right? I haven't dedicated the time in it. So that's one thing I think people need to realize. It's what you dedicate your time to.
Yeah. Most
anyway,
definitely.